My child, the murderer. My child, the murderer, as published on The Guardian, www.theguardian.com. What is it like to have a child who is a killer? These parents tell their stories. Jeff Williams, Andy's father. Andy Williams, 15, listens in El Cajon Superior Court during his arraignment. On the morning of the 5th of March, 2001, Andy Williams, who had just turned 15, took his father's long-barreled 22 caliber revolver and 40 bullets to his high school in Santee, California. In his backpack, opening fire in the school toilets and then in the school quad, he shot dead Brian Zucker, 14, and Randy Gordon, 17, and wounded 13 others, 11 of them students. In the weeks before the shootings, it later transpired Williams had told as many as a dozen people he was going to pull a Columbine. After the shootings, Williams told investigators he was tired of being bullied. A fellow student said others would walk up to him and sock him in the face for no reason. Williams also claimed to be influenced by the rap metal band Linkin Park, whose song One Step Closer included the lyrics, "'Cause I'm one step closer to the edge and I'm about to break." Williams was charged as an adult. After pleading guilty, he was sentenced to 50 years to life, which he is now serving in Ironwood State Prison in Blythe, California. Now 25, he will be eligible for parole in 2052 when he is 66 years old. I feel horrible about it because I'm so ashamed, Williams said later. I can't write it down. I can't tell it out loud how sorry I am. Jeff Williams, 52, Andy's father, who now lives in Arizona and works as a technician in a university research facility, is hoping Andy can appeal his sentence, which would see him freed much sooner. Jeff Williams, Andy's father, Andy's mother and I divorced in 1990 when he was about 4 years old. His brother went to live with his mom in South Carolina and Andy stayed with me. We lived in Brunswick, Maryland. His brother would come up in the summer for a week or two, and Andy generally went to his mom's at Christmas for about 10 days or 2 weeks. Otherwise, he didn't have much contact with his mom, which made him unhappy. Maybe she would call on his birthday or send a card. Then when it got down to Christmas time, it was a call or she'd send a letter with the flight instructions, and that was pretty much it. As a kid, he liked to be a little bit of a joker, to dress funny or walk funny or try to make silly little jokes. He had lots of friends. He wanted to be a helicopter pilot. He did regular elementary and junior high school activities. He'd get in trouble every now and then for not paying attention in class or goofing off, but he got B's and C's, which is fine. He played baseball. He played baseball, um, basketball, football, and soccer. Kitten, kitten, what you doing? Get up there. You was up to no good, wasn't you? Hmm. As I was saying before I was interrupted by Kitten in something, wanting her bath tonight. You want your bath tonight instead of tomorrow. Yeah, you ready for your bath? You ready? Tomorrow's bath time for kitten. But anyway, we're talking about Andy, right? I always feel like there's something more to this story. I always feel that way, right? Everybody gets bullied, but not everybody brings a gun up to the school and kills 13 people, right? We all got bullied. I got bullied. My older brother wouldn't help me. I used to run home every day. I'm gonna beat you up. I used to run home every day until one day I was tired of running. I was tired of running, honey. I can't even remember these girls' name who used to always threaten to beat me up. But let me tell you, honey, one day something changed in Miss Coletha, and I wasn't gonna run no more. And I said, you know what? This is it. She gonna have to kill me. I'm not running, not now. Paula, that was her name, Paula. And I've seen her too since I got grown. I saw her and she looked horrible. She looked horrible. Bless her heart. Her name was Paula. Oh my God. Oh my God. Very homely girl, very unattractive, and she did not like me. And she used to talk so much trash, baby. But I was waiting on her behind. After school, I was gonna tear her behind up. You hear me? And honey, she ran. She saw me waiting on her. And she ran. So the next day we're in class, right? And she started talking trash about me. And I was like, oh, yeah, like you ran yesterday. Let me tell you something. It was like a switch went off in me. I had taken as much as I was going to take, and that was it. That was it. I was going for mine. I'm tired. I'm tired of playing, being little Miss Nice Girl and avoiding trouble and all of that. You bring some mess to my door, it's going to be me and you, baby. It's going to be me and you. I changed. I changed. And I wasn't afraid to speak up for myself. I wasn't afraid to defend myself. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but one day I just woke up and I just decided. I made a decision. I made a decision. And we had guns at the house and stuff like that. My dad was a hunter, but it never occurred to me, maybe because I'm a girl, it never occurred to me to get get my daddy's gun. Cause first of all, they better kill me at that school. Cause when daddy found out that I had gotten his gun without permission and brought it up to the school, he was gonna kill me anyway. And this is something my daddy never whooped us. My daddy um, disciplined the girls and disciplined the boys, and my mom disciplined the girls. Okay, so my daddy never even raised his voice to me. He never called me out of my name. He never. My daddy was the problem solver. Whatever I needed, whatever I wanted, I could ask daddy, and daddy would make sure that I had it. Whatever it was that I needed for events or school dues or whatever. Daddy always made sure. And I never had any doubt, you know. Now, I already knew I couldn't ask my mama for nothing, okay? I already knew it was going to be a problem. So I would always ask daddy, and that was it. Problem solved. I never even had a doubt. So for me to say I'm being bullied and I knew not to go get daddy's gun without his permission, and my daddy never even raised his voice to me. That's how you know there's a difference between boys and girls, okay? There's a difference between boys and girls. So this is Andy. And let's see. He doesn't get out of jail until 2052. He was sentenced to 50 years to life, and he'll be 66 years old in 2052. and his daddy is trying to get him out of jail. There's something wrong with that boy. There's something wrong with him. Um, and he says he's sorry. He's sorry. You can't bring those kids back. And all those children was not hitting him in the face for no reason. And somebody hit you in the face, and you don't think I'm gonna hit them back. What is it that makes you think I should get a gun? Now they don't have no gun. So what makes you think that you're gonna get anyway? Makes no sense to me. Anyway, he didn't see his mom very much. Um, okay, he played baseball, basketball, football, and soccer. In 2000, we moved to 29 Palms, California. He did real well at the junior high. He was the lead in the Charlie Brown play. He played Linus. We So he's not the lead. The lead would be Charlie Brown, not Linus. Anyway, we have the videos, and you can see what he was like as a kid. Almost exactly a year later, he's in the bathroom shooting people. After 6 months in 29 Palms, we moved to Santee near San Diego so I could work there. He wasn't too happy because it was the second move in 6 months. We had lived in a nice house in Maryland in the woods, and here we were in this cramped, dingy apartment in town. The change was really big for him, and Santana High was a really big high school. He didn't do well in school. By October, in the first teachers' conference, I found out he was skipping school and getting lots of detention, and his grades started to fall. The school agreed they would call me if he was skipping or late. So by Christmas, he was doing better and went down to see his mom as usual. I guess when he was down there, I didn't know about this until later. He asked if he could move in with her. She said, "Wait until after you finish your first year instead of doing another move." When he came back, he did okay for a few weeks with the school work. Then he started cutting classes, and the grades were really bad, C's, D's, I think even one F. I thought it was a rebelliousness thing, like I was at that age. He picked some bad friends. I would tell him, "I don't like these guys, but that's your choice to hang out with them." It came out later he was smoking marijuana, drinking beer, and smoking cigarettes with them. I think that an older guy would buy the pot and smoke some beer for Andy and his friends in return for sexual favors. Again, that's a huge leap. That's not just something normal that you just do. I'm just saying. Uh, Andy has only just started talking about this. I didn't have any idea about all that or what was going on campus. Andy was getting badly bullied in school. He had his skateboard stolen twice. The kids would come up with cigarette lighters and burn him in the neck, throw his books in the toilet, take his bags, hit him, do sucker punches. But when he come home, he just say, "Oh, I fell off my skateboard." He was skinny. Most of his friends were a good 20 or 30 pounds heavier than him. I didn't know it then, but he hated going to school because of the abuse, but the friends outside school were pounding on him almost as bad. He would email friends in Maryland and tell how bad it was, but I had no inkling of what was going on in his head. The Saturday before the shootings, I took him hang gliding for his birthday present. On the Sunday, we went to look at a condo I was thinking of buying. He sat there just calm as all, smiling, picking out the room he wanted. On the morning of March 5th, Monday, I was at work. All of a sudden, the local TV stations came on. My supervisor told me, "You better go to the school. There's been a shooting and they're asking for the parents to come and get their kids." I got into Santee about 10:30 a.m. There were all these police cars and ambulances and helicopters and people in uniform all over the place. I walked around this parking lot for 2 hours trying to find Andy or kids I recognized. Every few minutes I would call home to see if he had happened to skip school. I was just wanting to find him. I didn't know anyone was killed then. All I knew was there was a shooting and that kids had been hurt, and I was hoping that Andy wasn't one of them. About 12:30, I turned around and these two girls I recognized were bawling. They went, "Andy did it." I felt all the blood just rushing out of me. I went up to the first law enforcement person I saw. "My name is Jeff Williams. I think my son was the shooter." From then until about 4 or 5 o'clock, I was questioned by the San Diego Sheriff's Office. I asked the sheriff if I could call Andy's mother because she was going to be worried because it was all over the news. So I called and let her know it was Andy and that he was okay. She just broke up and cried right there. I wasn't allowed back to the apartment because they were searching it and the media was parked out there. Then a bit later, as I was driving, they announced on the radio that there were 13 kids wounded. Okay, so 13 kids wounded and 2 kids killed. That was it for me. I was in my little car just bawling my eyes out in agony and distress. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe Andy had done this. Andy took my 22 pistol and the bullets that morning. I didn't know it was my gun. I didn't know I even had any bullets, but apparently I had 50 odd in the gun cabinet. In 29 Palms, people were breaking into houses, and since I was a single parent and by myself, if I was gone and something happened, I wanted Andy to know where the key to the gun cabinet was. See, that's a dumb idea. It's men, boys, I don't know what to say about them. What is this kid gonna do? Anyway, I first saw Andy 3 days later. We hugged and he started crying and saying he was sorry. I started crying. I wasn't angry with him. It was just incomprehensible to me that this fun loving kid could change in such a short amount of time and do something like that. The people at work were very supportive. People from Maryland, Andy's friends, came out to support him, but the people from Santee, I would get threats and nasty letters. I had to move away. I still get letters. People can't seem to forget. 2 kids got killed, sir. Your kid murdered 2 children and wounded 13 others, sir. Who gonna forget that? We never went to trial. Andy was charged an adult and he received an adult sentence, even though he was only 15. Again, how old is 15 really? As Dave Chappelle said. How old is 15 really? Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Okay. If he had gone to trial, the judge said because of the charges it would have been 450 years to life. So we decided to go ahead and plead guilty and he ended up with a 50-year to life sentence. I am sorry. I feel terrible for everybody. This is something that didn't need to happen. I think I did everything I could have other than be maybe a little bit more forceful in my interactions with the school and maybe stop him hanging out with those friends or let him move in with his mom and his brother and you just, you know, lump it on your own in California maybe. Or maybe you move to Maryland where your wife and your other son is, get a job on the East Coast, mister. That could have been a solution. Jesus. Oh my God. Okay. My lawyer told me not to try to contact the families. Our family gave a statement on TV apologizing to them. We said there is no way anyone can ever repay the loss they have suffered. The only interaction I had with them was when I met their attorney, right? The families of the 2 boys who were killed were suing me for negligence. It was probably a few months before Andy's mom was able to visit him. She came to a couple of hearings and now visits once or twice a year because she lives out in South Carolina. We don't talk at all now. She feels I am responsible because I was the one looking after Andy. Andy's in protective custody in prison with people like rapists who would be killed if they were in the general prison population. Since he's been there, he has received his high school diploma. I see him about once a month. I've been doing this now for 10.5 years, and I'm glad to see him. We catch up on what's going on the outside, happy stuff, neutral stuff, but it's always depressing to see somebody who is going to be in prison for another 40 years. He's now 25 years old. In some states, he would have been tried as a juvenile and he would be looking at getting out now. He has an attorney who is working pro bono trying to get a trial, trying to get the sentence reduced because Andy was a juvenile. He was being sexually abused and he was being badly bullied. I've never stopped loving Andy. He's my son. He made a terrible mistake, which he will be paying for the rest of his life, but that doesn't make me stop loving him. Okay, the first time he pulled the trigger and he didn't stop, the first time you can say it's a mistake, but to wound 13 people and kill two, that's a choice, sir. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. This interview was done by Christopher Goodwin, okay? And this kid who is a shooter, um, his name is Andy Williams. Andy Williams, uh, Santee, California. Okay, let's see something. Andy Williams, Santee, California. I can't remember when we were in 2002, I think. And okay, yes, hmm That explains a lot. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh my God. It's Santana High School shooting, March 5th, 2001. Okay. 15-year-old Charles Andrew Williams opened fire with an 88-shot 22 caliber revolver, killing two students and wounding 13 others. Williams was then apprehended by responding police officers and convicted. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. The boy was 15 at the time. So he was 15 in 2001. So how old would he be now? 15 in 2001. Let's find his birth date first. So 2001 minus 15, it means he was born in 1986. So 2021 minus 1986 makes him how old? 35 years old. Wow. He is 35 years old. And if he doesn't get out until 2052. 2052. He'll be 66 in 2052. So that was right. So let's see. 66 minus 35 equals, he's got 31 more years to go. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot, honey. I wonder if he has a book deal. What do you think? I think he probably does, huh? Andy Williams, Santee, California, book deal. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Oh my God. Uh-huh. In 2013, columnist Fred Dickey conducts a prison interview with Charles Andrew Williams, who fatally shot two and injured 13 others at Santana High School. Well, you knew that was going to happen, didn't you? Did you? So that's one parent, and so you see how he feels about it. I'm not sure if he's still alive. Um, Jeff Williams. Mm-mm. Larry Robison. In August 1982, Larry Robison, then 25, apparently hearing voices, murdered five people, including an 11-year-old boy near Fort Worth, Texas. One of the victims, Ricky Bryant, a friend with whom Robinson was living, was shot twice in the head, stabbed 49 times, decapitated, and sexually mutilated. Mm-mm. Oh my God. Lois Robison, Larry's mother, now 78, a retired teacher, and her husband Ken, Larry's stepfather, have since campaigned to get better treatment for people with severe mental illness and to stop the execution of mentally ill people. So if you want to find out about that one, hip yourself. Uh, this is Larry Robison, and he is a murderer in Lord Jesus, Fort Worth, Texas. Larry Robison. And this happened in August 1982. I've never heard of neither one of these cases, okay? So there's a third one, and let me get to that one real quick. Quickly. Stephen Grieveson, okay? Stephen Grieveson, 40, is serving life for the murder of three teenage boys in Sunderland. Thomas Kelly, 18, and 15-year-olds David Grieve and David Hanson. He pleaded not guilty but was convicted in 1996. In 2004, he wrote a letter to the Victim Liaison Service admitting the murders. Grieveson strangled and burned his victims. The prosecution alleged he murdered the boys to stop them revealing he was gay. He was given 3 life sentences in order to serve a minimum of 35 years. He has also been questioned about another unsolved murder. Kathy, Stephen's mother. Stephen was a good little boy till he was 11 when he started getting into trouble. He was one of 7 children I had with my husband. Stephen was a mammy's boy, still is. He just got into mischief. It was only me Stephen's dad hit. Oh my God, domestic violence. But it wasn't one-sided. I gave back. I wouldn't shut up. It was a violent relationship. More than likely, that had an effect on the kids. At 11, Stephen got taken to court for pinching a nail. He opened a packet of nails and nicked one, and that was that. Before that, he'd been cautioned a few times. By then, I was a single mom, and the courts took your kids off you if they got into trouble. Stephen was a really loving boy. When they sent him to the children's home in Carlisle, he was still loving. The care order lasted till he was 18, though he came back at weekends and I'd sometimes go up to see him with social services. Stephen never talked to me about his experience there, but it later emerged that there was sexual and physical abuse at the home and it got closed down. I felt bad when he was sent away, like I might not have brought him up properly. It wasn't just him, my oldest had also gone into care. I wasn't always there for them because I used to go to the bingo and that. There's no point lying because that's what I did, but I didn't turn him into a killer. He was still getting into trouble when he came back from Carlisle. He was 18, smoking a lot of dope, taking sleeping tablets and sniffing glue. He was always into cars, nicking them or buying them with stolen money. I knew he was burgling places because the house was getting searched every other week when he lived at home. I used to scream and shout at him, but it made no difference. The police would come at 7 a.m. when everybody could see. At one point there was a stolen car in the backyard. I said, "What's that doing there?" But Stephen denied he had taken it. He was always in and out of prison, 38 convictions since he was 12 for stealing. He never did a long sentence, though, until he went down for murder. I was convinced he was innocent. Moms. The first time I was allowed to see him after they charged him, he said, "Ma'am, I didn't do it." At the beginning, I believed him because even the solicitor said, "Your son's not a murderer." Stephen has never admitted to me he killed the three boys, though he has to others. I don't know if it's because we're so close that makes it harder. No, child, that's not what it is.
Oh my God. Mm.
Whether you are the mother of a child who was murdered or you're the mother of a murderer, man, it's just hard being a mom. It's hard work. You hear me? It's hard work. It's hard work.
Oh my God.
I really hope that they make it where you need a license and in order to be a parent. If you need a license to drive a car on public streets, you should have a license to become a parent. That's what I think. Anyway, let's go on. When he got charged on November 5th, 1995, he said he had been abused, and maybe he was abused when he was away from home. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I know he's a homosexual too, and he's never talked to me about that. Stephen was a good-looking lad and still is. He did have relationship with girls, but he never enjoyed them. I think he found that very difficult to cope with, especially in a place like Sunderland. When I read the details of the murders, I felt sick. Awful. He'd already killed them, so why burn them? I still have nightmares about it. I can see it happening. When he was found guilty, I was put on Valium. I'm still on sleeping tablets now. It was straight after he got charged that the attack started. I was living in Roker Avenue when everything happened, and the day Stephen got charged, somebody came and put all my windows out. I went out and ran after them. I was scared. That was the Sunday, and the following Friday, a 14-pound hammer came through my window. I went to court in Leeds for Stephen's trial. I went to the toilet, and one of the relations followed me and said, "You're going to get a good hiding." And I said, "If you think you can do it, but I'll fight back." I didn't go back to court after that. My sister told me he had been found guilty. I did think he'd walk away, but there was always a big doubt in the back of my mind. What if he's not innocent? I want to know why he did it, but I can't bring myself to ask him. I always hoped he'd just tell me. I'm still waiting. I've always thought there must be something wrong with him, that he's mentally ill. People didn't stand by me. I used to go drinking in the clubs and pubs with people I thought were my friends, but when everything happened, I realized I didn't have any friends. I feel that even Stephen's friends were trying to distance themselves from him. The Sunderland Echo didn't make it any easier by doorstepping me. Then again, I didn't make it any easier for myself by going on television. I said I didn't think my son was a killer. That probably made it worse. They treated me like I'd killed those boys. Social services helped me. They moved out my two youngest daughters, who were 14 and 15, so it was just me at home. Then they said I better move away and adopt a new identity. Since then, I've moved about 10 times. When people find out whose mother you are, they can be very vindictive. Sometimes I've been recognized, and within the next breath, it's all around the streets. When I moved south, I hoped I'd be able to start a new life, but I couldn't. Somebody sent an anonymous letter with a photo of another murdered boy Stephen has been questioned about. In 1998, I went to jail after getting caught taking marijuana into prison for Stephen. Why did I take the drugs in? I suppose it was a mix of love and guilt. Again, the guilt that I didn't bring him up right, and the guilt I feel when he says I can't go on. I thought the drugs would help Stephen sleep. Stephen sleep. I felt like saying, well, you made your bed, now lie in it, but I never have. I did 6 months in jail and was given a hard time. When I went into Low Newton prison, somebody recognized me and they were shouting, Sunderland strangler, roker, choker, your son's a murderer. I've just moved again to another city. I still see my kids sometimes, but I don't make friends. It's a lonely life. There is not a day I don't think about Stephen and what he did. I still worry that I was a bad parent. I'm not sure what there is to live for. I have been suicidal in the past. I know Stephen will not come out, certainly not while I'm alive. And I'd be terrified if he did, for what he might do. But I still love him. I could never turn against him because he's my son, and he's still a mammy's boy. Mm-mm-mm. Well, there you have it. I can't even read the second story because, ugh. Mm-mm-mm. Stephen's mother. Mm-mm-mm. So that was the stories of three killers and their parents, right? Andy Williams, California. Uh, this is Larry Robinson from Fort Worth, Texas. Mm-mm-mm. And then the last one, Stephen Grieveson, who murdered three teenage boys in Sunderland. Mm-mm. Well, there you have it. So, what do y'all think about that? How about that story time for you? This was this was compiled on and printed on The Guardian. Okay, so www.theguardian.com, and it's called My Child, the Murderer. Three parents tell their stories. Lord have mercy. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. So there you have it. I'll talk to y'all later. Tell me how y'all like this story time. You know. So you remember the last one that I did was about the babysitter. Is the babysitter shooting heroin on heroin. And now this one is uh, three parents tell their stories. Three parents of three murderers tell their stories. Alrighty. The interviews are by Christopher Goodwin. Talk to y'all later. Bye.